ambassadors. Can you hear me well? Yes, great. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor for me to be here today on this special day. It's the International Day of Human Fraternity, and that's a concrete example that we can be here together talking about an important topic. Well, we are going to talk more about education and diplomacy as pillars for tolerance and peace. Education is key to promoting tolerance and peace. And let me remind us three aspects. Education is a fundamental human right and a lever for other rights. Education is a public good. Gender equality is really important to the right of education for all. If we're going to be more focused on education, as you know, the main difference between the Millennium Development Goals, 8 goals adopted in New York in the 2000, and the 17 Sustainable Development Goals adopted in 2015, unfortunately 17% are on the road out of 169 targets. But anyway, for the 2030 agenda lies in addressing the root causes of problems. Education is both a goal, number 4, highlighting the quality education, and a crucial element for achieving the others. Without awareness of a given issue, it is difficult to accomplish anything. With the IID, we aim to provide practical and pragmatic solutions to global challenges, particularly by strengthening diplomatic skills through continuous training. Our audience is diverse as we address diplomacy in a broad sense, requiring a cross-sectoral approach to find solutions. Diplomacy is evolving with the new challenges and actors. Adaptation is crucial. I remember in the past when we were talking about refugees from one side and climate from the other side. And what's the result? We know that there are climate refugees, even with the business and human rights. That's the same. So we need to take in consideration these new challenges and to find solutions, but common solutions. You know, even on a smaller scale, it is possible to take action. Last year, we completed our first executive education module on trade diplomacy, entitled Mastering Trade Diplomacy, the Key to Global Success, in partnership with the CCIG, the Geneva Chamber of Commerce. And among the participants from various backgrounds, some diplomats formed meaningful connections, and the rest too. Moreover, the majority were women. It highlights the importance of this topic. Therefore, in line with resolutions 3655 and more precisely 53 to 143, if we make the effort to establish a framework, namely the culture of peace, it is possible to have a significant impact on our environment. And the knowledge shared will in turn be passed on to others. The beauty of peace is that it can be shared. Let's talk about diplomacy. Everything's connected, but diplomacy is going through a challenging period. However, it remains crucial because when communications between countries breaks down, the consequences become far more severe. Multilateralism is therefore more necessary than ever, and everyone must be aware of its implications. Consequently, the key word is cooperation, not only between states, but also among various stakeholders. Local authorities, NGOs or the civil society, international organizations, and the private sector. We need to include all these actors because they're changing the deal. You know, International Geneva is a real opportunity for diplomacy. It's the global hub of governments, but nothing should be taken for granted. Everyone can be a change maker, and the good news are that tolerance and fraternity are free. That's why the philosophy behind the IID is to rethink diplomacy by reassessing our relationship with others. The challenge, which is also an opportunity, is our independence. This allows us to serve as a platform for dialogue where common solutions can be found. Stakeholders must be encouraged through active diplomacy. In other words, the diplomacy in action. I want to add maybe a few words regarding an initiative, the SDSA, that you mentioned, Mr. Ambassadors. The Swiss Diplomacy Students Association, which is now thriving in Geneva, Lausanne, Zurich, and soon in Bern, and normally in the Svizzera, the Italian side. Let's see. We're going to achieve the Swiss unification. That's the way. In few words, I launched this initiative in 2019 with the goal of democratizing diplomacy. In Switzerland, there was no structure informing students about what diplomacy is and how to pursue it, whether bilaterally or multilaterally. And when you arrive here in Geneva, you realize that there are other forms of diplomacy. And when we start with the United Nations, it's not just about the government or strict diplomacy as we can imagine in our common sense. There was also a desire to give young people a voice because global challenges require intergenerational responses. Additionally, we wanted to support women by encouraging them to take on leadership roles and to create community of diverse backgrounds united by a common interest, diplomacy. Some members aimed to work in humanitarian fields, others at the state level, while some were simply curious about the different topics covered. There is one former member here. Hello, Joel. Thank you for coming. I also became aware of the SDGs while preparing for a General Assembly. Initially, we focused on 3 goals, but over time, we expanded to 8, without requiring financial resources. The conclusion is that determination can make a difference, but once again, awareness is essential to bring these elements into considerations. Thank you for attention.